Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Are you prepared for an emergency? That's the question that events in both Yucca Valley and 29 Palms helped answer for hundreds of residents yesterday. Online news editor Robert Hayden picks it up from here.
On Monday, hundreds of Yucca Valley residents formed a line out the door of the community center at the San Bernardino County Office of Emergency Services Resource Fair. They were handing out small battery-powered lanterns, trash bags, gloves,
a battery charger, which is good for cell phones or whatever.
Tasha Shelton thought that after the last couple of power outages caught her by surprise, she better start keeping some things handy at home.
I was scrambling to find a store that was open to try to get batteries, flashlights, stuff like that, and was like, don't open the fridge.
Along with the supplies to keep your phone and other essentials charged, information was one of the main takeaways from the event. Marjorie Smith is the chair of the Morongo Basin VOAD, or Volunteer Organizations Active in Disaster.
I'm in charge of all the volunteers in time of disasters for the Morongo Basin.
Marjorie knows how to get volunteers. Betty came down to get some supplies for her 87-year-old neighbor.
And I said, well, I'm in Yucca, I'll go by there. And she saw me in line. She goes, do you have a few minutes? And pulled me right out of line.
There's always a need for a volunteer.
Along with some of these essentials, having a basic plan of action for any emergency is key, says Marjorie. Power outages and the red-flagged windstorms were definitely the impetus for this Community Resource Day. However, the wildfires in Los Angeles were on everybody's minds, and Marjorie focused on making sure people had the info on who they could contact in the county, along with a personal plan should an emergency come up.
A family emergency plan, which is, what are you going to do when something happens? If it happened right now, what would you do? And who would you contact?
It seemed to be working. A few hours into the event, over 300 residents had come through and received the supplies and info from County Emergency Services employees and volunteers. For Tasha and her friend Renee, they were heading straight from the event to get some things ready at home.
I'm going to get a crate and put some emergency supplies in there, some of this that I got today, because the fire's not going to wait on you to pack nothing. So if we get that warning, it's grab and go. Mother Nature has a mind of her own, so being prepared is the first step.
If you missed yesterday's event, we'll have some links to the county websites and services you should have on hand in case of an emergency on our website, Z107.7FM.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
At last night's Landers Homestead Valley Community Association monthly meeting, attendees learned about local drone privacy and what you can do if you encounter an invasive drone over your property. Here's Annalise Kuiper with more on this.
If you discovered a drone flying over your property around July of last year, it was likely flown by a company called Talon, which is not affiliated with Southern California Edison, yet was supposedly inspecting electric power poles and lines. However, when the drones were found looking in through bedroom and bathroom windows, several complaints were filed. Shooting at drones is an FAA felony, as drones are considered to be aircraft, so your only recourse is to video the drone and file a complaint with the Sheriff's Department. As drones can also collect data underneath the property it is inspecting, folks are irate just thinking about all the information that is being gathered about them. Officer Tyler Vanguard from the Morongo Basin Sheriff's Department addressed matters of law and order such as squatters, dope, theft, and dumping. His constant advice was to pay attention, take video of individuals, and very important, vehicles. Notice things like height, stature, hair, and eye color. So when you call for help, all details will be available for the responding officer. Glenn Harris, field representative to County Supervisor Don Rowe, urged us to prepare for disasters and gave us several useful websites to check out, like prepare.sbcounty.gov and smart911.com. Discounted tickets for King of the Hammers are being sold next door to Heroes Market. Tickets go for $38, of which the Landers Homestead Valley Association will receive $25 per ticket sold. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
The San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing today at 10 a.m., focusing on housing and community development projects. Reporter Hillary Sloan has more on how you can make your voice heard.
County residents are encouraged to attend a public hearing today hosted by the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors. The hearing will prioritize housing and community development projects and guide the use of federal grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Community input will contribute to the county's 5-year consolidated plan, which aims to increase affordable housing, reduce homelessness, and support underserved communities. Residents can attend in person at the County Government Center in San Bernardino or join via video conference at the Bob Burke Joshua Tree Government Center. For Z107.7, this is reporter Hillary Sloan.
The City of 29 Palms Public Works Department announced that they will be paving Old Dale Road from Indian Cove Road to Copper Mountain Road today from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. The City of 29 Palms apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause. The 29 Palms City Council will gather tonight for their first meeting of 2025, during which they'll host a public hearing and designate individuals for key positions at various city agencies. Reporter Heather Clisby has more.
Tonight's 29 Palms City Council meeting will kick off the new year with the annual State of the Base address by Brigadier General Mark H. Klingon, followed by the Public Arts Advisory Committee's presentation of their Artist of the Year Award. The council will host a public hearing on development code amendments concerning mobile home parks and special occupancy parks. After numerous public hearings on the issue, the 29 Palms Planning Commission submitted recommended amendments to the council last October. The Planning Commission chairman has now requested that the item be returned to the commission for further consideration. Mayor Stephen Bilderain, who acts as the Tourism Business Improvement District Subcommittee, will make an appointment recommendation to the council for the T-Bid Advisory Board. Council will appoint Janelle Anglis and Rita Lilly as new members of the Public Arts Advisory Committee and reappoint Paul Razzo for another term. For the remainder of the meeting, Council will review assignments within regional organizations and make new appointments as needed. The meeting takes place on Tuesday, January 14th at 6 p.m. at City Hall, 6136 Adobe Road. It can be live streamed or viewed on demand via the city's website, 29palms.org. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
The Yucca Valley Planning Commission will look ahead to new developments via the Land Development Update at tonight's meeting. Here's reporter Adeline J. Wells with a look at the rest of the agenda.
For their first meeting of the new year, the Yucca Valley Planning Commission will receive the Land Development Update. This report consists of updates on private land development and capital project activity within Yucca Valley. Possible items in this week's report include Domino's Pizza and Jersey Mike's, Starbucks West, and Star Cafe. Tonight's meeting is open to the public and begins at 6 p.m. at the Yucca Valley Community Center. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Adeline J. Wells.
The Morongo Unified School District Board of Trustees will be holding their first regular meeting of the new year tonight at 6 p.m. at Joshua Tree Elementary. Reporter Gabriel Hart has highlights of the meeting's agenda for us today.
There will be an audit report presented by Oscar Gonzalez of Nigro & Nigro. Consent agenda items include policy updates to non-discrimination in district programs, intervention in underperforming schools, superintendent contract, and district-sponsored social media, and a bylaw updated to reflect a new U.S. Supreme Court decision that a district official who limits or prevents critics from speaking, such as by blocking them on social media or deleting their posts, violates the First Amendment only if the official has granted the power to speak on behalf of the district and claims to be actually exercising that power. Bylaw also updated to suggest that a board member make clear when they are speaking as an individual and not on behalf of the district, such as by adding a disclaimer to the member's social media page. Action items include classified layoffs due to lack of work or lack of funds, where the board is requested to abolish single vacant positions of custodian, noon supervisor, 3 nutritional service positions, and 37 instructional assistant positions, totaling 42 positions, though most of these are 3-hour shifts and their vacancies are for position control purposes. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Gabriel Hart.
When directors at the Bighorn Desert View Water Agency meet at 6 p.m. today, they'll handle a number of items important to water users and landers in Flamingo Heights. Reporter Mike Lipsitz is here to tell us what they are.
Tonight, the board is expected to authorize an agreement for on-call engineering services from an outside vendor, and in other actions, directors will likely authorize hire of another contractor to conduct a rate and capacity fee study. In other business, the president, with board consensus, will likely approve committee and meeting assignments for the calendar year. The public is invited to attend in person at the agency's board meeting office under the Old Water Tower on Cherokee Trail in Landers. Remote participation is also an option. See this story at Z107.7fm.com for a link to the full agenda, which includes information on all options for viewing and participating in tonight's meeting. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Mike Lipsitz.
Reach Out Morongo Basin is bringing Bingo Size to the high desert. Bingo Size is a 10-week health program that combines bingo with low-impact exercise geared for senior citizens. The classic game of bingo is mixed together with inclusive seated or standing exercises, along with information about nutrition. Bingo Size is happening at the 29 Palms Senior Center every Tuesday through March. Starting today, it begins at 10 a.m. For more information, call 760-361-1410. And finally, Patricia Patty Boosum, a 44-year-old resident of Joshua Tree, died on December 30th, the day after her birthday. She was 75 years old. Boosum is survived by her life partner, Mark Scrimshaw, and her 3 daughters, Nicole Boosum and Christian Boosum, both in Joshua Tree, and Jamie Dirio Phillip in Las Vegas. Patty Boosum worked as a social service IHSS caretaker for San Bernardino County for 25 years before she retired. A service will be held at Weefel's Funeral Services in Yucca Valley on Saturday, January 18th at 11 a.m. A celebration of life will follow at 1 p.m. at the Joshua Tree VFW. It will be a potluck, so bring one of your favorite dishes to share, along with your loving and fun memories of Patty. That's our local news. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.